Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tracy Jones, and it's my favorite time. It is new release from Tremendous Leadership Time. And this one is coming out of our four-legged leadership line. You guys know how important our four-legged leaders are to all the books that we publish. And today I want to introduce you to Philip Martin. Philip, welcome.
Hello, Tracy.
And I got connected with Philip through another one of our tremendous authors, David Dean. And Philip and I had so much in common, but most of all, his love of dogs, in particular, Tibetan Terriers. So, Philip, tell us a little bit about this book that's coming out.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for being with you and your audience today. Yes, the book will be entitled Tales from Tibet. And it really goes back to my growing up from Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up there, and scouting was very important to me. And as a Boy Scout, I began to think about a lot of the things that I had learned in those very formative years. And when we got our dog, we got our first Tibetan Terrier. Her name was Sashi, but we got her when she was 6 months old. So the breeder said it's like taking a child home from the hospital when they're 4 years old. So we missed all of that early childhood development. So it took a lot of remedial work from my wife and me, but we had a beautiful dog, trained wonderfully over the years, but missing those early years was stuck in my mind. So unfortunately, Sashi got sick and she passed away at 8 years old. The Tibetan Terrier breed, for those of you that aren't familiar, that aren't aware of it, the Dalai Lama has a couple of them. They live up in the Himalayas. The Buddhist monks kept them for 3,000 years. They were only discovered in 1929 by a British doctor, but they are really called the magical dog of Tibet, and they're very unique. But they lived about 19 years old. It's one of the longest living breeds. And so when we lost Sashi to lymphoma at 8 years old, it just really rocked our world. And I, through the grieving process, I was counseled that getting another dog and really writing about it, about what the dog had meant to me over the years would be helpful. Well, our mutual friend that Tracy alluded to, David Dean, said, I've been watching you on Facebook. You've always write some inspirational things. You've got some good pulls from history and leadership. He said, you really ought to think about a book, and it ought to be a book about your dog. Well, by this time, we had a new puppy, and this time we got a 9-week-old. So at night, every night I'd go out, and at the close of my day, I used to sit with Sashi and I'd talk to her about how my day had been and ask her how her day was. And here came little Tashi. So Tashi is the new 9-week-old puppy. And one night, I remember it so vividly, Tracy, it was as if Sashi were speaking to me. Sashi said, I'll help you with the new puppy. And so I got the idea for the book. Still drawing from my days of scouting, it just dawned on me that what a young puppy could learn from an older dog is the same things that I think a young boy or girl could learn to help them be successful in life. So the chapters began to unfold almost like the Scout Law. So a lot of the things that I learned about trustworthiness and helpful and kind and being brave, all of those things that fell into place with me when I was 10 to 13 years old as a scout and became an Eagle Scout, I started looking back on that and tying it in to a story of these two dogs. And it really is about little Tashi wonders where she came from, and she asked Sashi, where do we come from? And a golden eagle happens to overhear them and magically puts the two dogs on his wings and flies them to the Himalayas. So it's that's really they're the stories about all their adventures and their encounters and what they learn in the process. I think are some pretty good life lessons and leadership development.
Well, and for the readers of our dog books, and I love for me it was Mr. Blue in 2001. That was my dog that started it all. That was my once in a lifetime pup. And then he trained Ruby and Indigo and Roscoe and Goliath, and he's still imprinting the legacy. So I love that you have the spirit of beautiful Sashi pouring in because all the greats make that us. And again, with all of our books, there's always life lessons. Philip, could you share a couple of the life lessons that the dogs encounter? Because and for readers out there, the illustrations are gorgeous. It'll take you to Tibet and you'll get to see a faraway country. It's so beautiful. But share some of the lessons
Oh,
for our listeners out there, Philip.
thank you, Tracy. Well, one that comes to my mind are the two dogs are going along. They're searching for the lost valley of Tibet. So, for those of your readers who remember that from literature, that's where Milton wrote about Paradise Lost. That was the Shangri-La. So, it's had a big part in our literature. But the lost valley of Tibet is where the Tibetan Terriers really came from. And so, the two dogs with the eagle flying overhead are going along these mountain paths. And I remember in the book where Sashi picks up a strange fragrance in the air because they smell so their smelling is so keen. But she noticed a very strange smell in the air, and it turned out to be some incense from a temple that's several miles away. But they began to head toward the smell of this strange aroma. But along the way, they encounter a stream flowing by, and they've got to figure out how to get across the stream. So little Tashi tries to go across the rocks first and falls in the water, tries to go across the log and slips and falls in. So learning how they got up and stayed with it, they learned about perseverance, they learned about problem solving. They work together and find another tree that they're able to maneuver across to get across the stream, and then they celebrate. So they got a lot of that was overcoming some challenges, problem solving, overcoming an obstacle, and then making it across. And celebrating that was very important. Another one that comes to mind, though, I had several of our friends talked about bullying. At one point, I didn't think bullying really fit in all of this, and I know it's just a real popular topic now. And it's been one of the most favorite chapters that I've shared with some of my advisor group. And turns out that dogs are walking along and they look down in the valley and they see a flock of sheep. And they notice that 4 larger sheep are picking on a little small sheep. So little Tashi runs down. He gets in between the 4 bully sheeps and the 4 sheep that are bullying the little one, and is able to sort of show them how they're wrong in their actions. And then a sheepdog comes along and loves seeing them, meets the 2 girls, and so it's a good moment there with the sheep. So those are 2 of the chapters that stand out real quickly.
I love it. And Philip, you are really active on Facebook, and we'll have the link down there where you really have been teasing out the lessons. And every day you talk about the Tashi Chronicles, and you have kind of a daily reflection of this. And I also love that you tie that Tashi really wants to know, who is she? Where did she come from? And that's so
Right.
important to understand where we fit into the universe and
Yes.
what's our ancestry and why do we look the way we do and how that makes us uniquely gifted and coded for certain things. So you really unpack that beautifully.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Tracy. No, it's my first time to write a book, but it's been so rewarding. And the people that I've shared with, you're right, on Facebook, have seen little peeks into the chapters, and the feedback has just been very, very encouraging.
I love it. Well, for our listeners out there, there is nothing better than learning leadership principles from a dog. And Philip, what age would you say that this book is really geared toward?
I believe, Tracy, this is going to be sort of about 8 to 12,
Okay.
maybe 7 to 12 will be the age group. And again, some of the folks that I've sought their counsel along the way have said that almost back to my scouting days, it's a period of time that if we could get leadership lessons instilled in these kids at that age, several of the teachers and some from academia overall have said it's really a part of it's an audience that they think is sort of overlooked. And if we can help young help young boys and girls learn a little bit about leadership at a very young age. It might really propel them along the way.
Right. Well, for our listeners out there, the book is going to be launched imminently. As a matter of fact, if you're getting this email and watching this video, it is coming out today. You can go over to Amazon, you can get copies, you can come on over to Tremendous Leadership. But for organizations out there, if you're interested in ordering in bulk for your group, absolutely reach out to myself or Philip. We'll have all the notes in there and his website and the Tremendous Leadership website, and make sure you get copies, because it is so important. And the earlier you learn, truth is non-negotiable. Truth is the foundation of everything.
Correct.
And I love this book because it really, in just a wonderful, beautiful way, and the kids will learn not just about character, but more about another part of the world and culture,
Right.
which is also so wonderful to learn more about somebody different than you. Yeah.
Thank you,
All right,
Tracy.
Philip.
Thanks for all the support and inspiration you've meant to us along the way. It's been a great journey with you.
You're welcome. So like I said, to our tremendous fans out there, the links will be in there. Please go out, get some copies as gifts, tell your friends about it, share with other dog lovers, and absolutely leave Philip a review. We'd love to hear what you think about it. Absolutely gorgeous book. The illustrations are just, there is as much to digest as the words. So you get the double, the words and the visuals. So again, Philip, and to our tremendous fans out there, thank you so much for helping us change the world one book at a time. And remember, you're going to be the same person 5 years from now that you are today, except for two things: the people you meet, the books you read, and I would say another one, and the pups you adopt. All right.
Absolutely.
So here's to Tashi. May she just blow it out of the park. I know she will. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.